Welcome to this ServiceTool tutorial on how to handle advanced options when creating a vehicle. This video will describe how to add and connect to nodes that is not set up in a standardized way. I won't be able to go through all special cases, but I will go through all the options available in ServiceTool to hopefully make it more understandable on how to do it. When adding a node, we have this checkbox here to open up Advanced Options. Here we can see more settings, such as the STO base, receive and transmit addresses, and the CAN-talk ID and address. The CAN-talk is an Inmotion specific address handling code download. This will not be shown in the other types. Inmotion units normally has a node ID between 1 and 31, and it has SDO2 enabled, located at an ID 32 above this. Therefore between 33 and 63. If we change the node ID, we can see other values change automatically following the standard way. A node ID 6 should also have CAN-talk ID 6, and its SDO2 address should be hexadecimal 5A0 plus 6, resulting in 5A6. Even if it's not recommended, if we instead want to connect to the SDO1, we can see that the SDO base is 580, resulting in the transmit address being 586. Changing the ID to 38 here, with the base at 58, will result in the same thing as checking the SDO2 box with ID 6. The transmit address is now once again 5A6. But as you can see, ServiceTool has set the CAN-talk ID to 6, because this is most likely the case where the application download should occur, as the ID for SDO1 is still 6. In some cases, a unit might not follow these standards. An example is a unit that changes the SDO1 address, depending on what application is used. But the CAN-talk ID and the SDO2 address remains unchanged. As an example of this, a unit has ID 5 and its CAN-talk ID is 5. And as expected, the SDO2 is plus 32 at 37, meaning the transmit address is 5A5. But when changing the application, the unit then has node ID 11, but it might still have CAN-talk ID 5, and the SDO2 might still be at node ID 37, or the transmit address 5A5. The simplest solution in this case is to use the SDO2 address, because it will remain the same, but making sure the CAN-talk ID is the correct one, in this case 5. Either use the node ID 5 with SDO2 checked, which may be confusing because you seem to have connection with the node ID 11 on ID 5. Or you can use the SDO2 ID 37. Another solution could be to set up two nodes, one with ID 5 and one with ID 11, but both with CAN-talk ID 5. This is not preferred if you have many parameters in your list, because you would need to have each parameter twice for each node. In this case, it's probably better to have an identical individual file for each application with each different ID. Another special case is when the SDO address is not even in the normal range of ID 1 and 127, based from address hexadecimal 580. For some reason, a customer has other communication on these addresses and moved the SDO to, for example, where the PDO3 transmission is located. So instead of having 580 plus the node IDs, it's located at 380 plus node ID. In this case, it is simply solved by changing the SDO base to 380, resulting in transmit address 385 for a node ID with ID 5. The CAN-talk address is most likely unchanged. In these special cases, you most likely have contact with any of our excellent application engineers, and they can help you with this setup. And finally, another way to set up a vehicle is to do a quick setup. Normally from a blank file, To use this, it is required to have the actual object dictionary, the EPF, for each node in your default EPF folder somewhere, as mentioned in the video how to create a vehicle. If you haven't selected this before, you will get prompted to do so. To quick setup, we'll do a scan on the CAN bus. For each node found, it will then request the unit's object dictionary, and if this is found in your default EPF folder, a node will automatically be created with the correct node ID and is given a default name by its device type and node ID. You will be alerted of any nodes found that was not successfully created. So now we quickly found our 2 nodes. We can just connect and start our analyzation. This is useful, for example, in a factory quality control or such, where you might receive a unit or vehicle that you are uncertain of exactly what it is, and you quickly want to analyze the health status or error logs. Or maybe you have a big vehicle with lots of nodes and you want to speed things up. If successful, all you need to do is to rename each node. That is all for the advanced options to create a vehicle. Thank you for watching. Please contact us if you have any questions, want to purchase our products, or have any feature requests.